Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to welcome everybody to my session. Before I start my session, I just want to say that I decided to present this year because we do have an Arabic division right now, and we're proud of this achievement. And we do have amazing members. We do have amazing president who's here, Mr. Osama. And we are proud to encourage people to join and present in this division, because that's what we need. We need to be involved, present, and share whatever we have, informations, ideas, presentation, and things. So therefore, I encourage anyone who has any topic that he knows about to step up, jump in front of the bus like I did today, and share and be involved in the division. I guess it's 10. With no further ado, I'm going to start my presentation today. The topic for today is court interpreting and legal terminology for Arabic interpreters. I do know that, I understand that most of you here are translators. Actually, let me check. By show of hands, how many of you are interpreters? Wow. And how many of you are court interpreters already? That's great. You guys are going to make my job easy today. So basically this session is just introducing this profession for translators, especially the Arabic translators. So I'm going to go over like the modes of interpreting, and I will not talk about the code of ethics and so, because that's going to go for long, but mainly I will talk about just the profession and then some challenges that we as an Arabic interpreters are facing in the courts. Some of these challenges are personal challenges that I met personally. So I understand that some of these can be challenges for me and might not be challenges for you. So, but I welcome if anybody wants to share as well the same experience. So this is what the points I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give a brief history of court interpreting. Then I will talk about some skills that Arabic court interpreters need. And therefore I will explain the three modes of interpreting. Then I will talk about those challenges I told you about, the personal challenges I faced, and then most of you, I think, have faced, some of you faced in the court. And we will have some terminology that we will talk about at the end as well. So let's start. So that's the brief history about the court interpreting. The first use of the simultaneous court interpreting in an international setting was back in the Nuremberg and the trial, and that was in 1946. Does anybody know about the Nuremberg trial? Okay, with the Nazis and things. Here in US, the Constitution gave a lot of legal rights. The Fifth Amendment gave us the right to a due process, muhakama adila. Sixth Amendment as well, right to a fair trial and speedy trial. 14th Amendment as well, equal protection under law. So therefore, everybody in the court didn't need to be just present physically, but he needed to be linguistically present as well. So therefore, the legislative thought that they have to bring a law, bring in the court interpreters to the courts. And that happened in 1978, where, do you guys know this president? Jimmy Carter, that's right. So Jimmy Carter stepped up and signed the Court Interpreters Act on 1978, and it became officially that any person who needed linguistic services needed to be linguistically present in the court. And there were some cases when some people, to get to that point, signing the act, there were so many debates. And I remember there was a story about a guy from Mexico that pleaded guilty for a dump, like stealing dump truck, and thinking that he pleaded guilty for just stealing a toolbox. So, and that was a huge subject at that time. So so what are the skills that Arabic court interpreters need? Before talking about the skills that any Arabic court interpreters need, we need to talk about our language, Arabic. And I don't know if all of you know that Arabic language is a challenge in itself, because we don't mainly use one language. We do have a main language. It's called the Modern Standard Arabic, and we do have some different dialects, spoken Arabic languages in different regions, and I will show you that as well. So our use of Arabic is diglossic, which means that we use both of those types of Arabic in one speech. Modern Standard Arabic is also known as Classical Arabic, and that's an official formal language we use in school. That's the language we learned at school. The language used in the courts, media, communication, and the colloquial Arabic, which I said before is a language spoken on, different regions. اللغة العامية. Yeah. So the skills that an Arabic court interpreters he should effectively interpret like back and forth between the English and the Modern Standard Arabic. So he needs that Modern Standard Arabic, which is like the general language. He needs also to interpret between the English and the Modern Standard Arabic rather than a colloquial dialect when he faces written materials. What does that mean? When do we face written materials in court? Here we go. Yes, I'm referring to what we call a site translation. So sometimes if an attorney hand you like a document, would you please explain these rights to Mr. Defendant? So therefore, when you interpret that written form, it has to go to Modern Standard Arabic. Arabic court interpreter can effectively as well interpret between English and Modern Standard Arabic when he faces a simultaneous, rather than the colloquial dialect as well. With that being said, simultaneous, when you're facing simultaneous, you have to go on the Modern Standard Arabic. And when do you have to interpret in simultaneous mode? Can someone tell me?
Jury instruction.
Jury instruction, that's one of them, that's right. And the sentencing. When the judge gives defendant sentences because he cannot stop, so that's a simultaneous mode. In addition to that, any other proceeding in the courts when there is an exchange between attorneys, judge, so that goes simultaneous as well. And remember that we use simultaneous. A court Arabic interpreter also can accurately interpret between English and a colloquial dialect. So there is a colloquial dialect this time, of Arabic in question and answer situation with Arabic speaking party or witness. So basically, we're talking about the other mode of interpreting, which is the consecutive. When do we use consecutive mode? The court interprets. Here we go. That's correct. Ding ding. So when we have a witness stand, so when let's say for a trial, for example, we're calling a witness, a normal witness, or an expert witness. So of course, those people have to hear the question and then answer. So because everything goes in the record, and they don't we don't need an overlapping speech. And also the Arabic court interpreter can strike the right balance between Modern Standard Arabic and a colloquial dialect of Arabic. that is faithful to the source language, the nature of the discourse being interpreted, and the variety of Arabic which can carry interpreting faithfully. So basically, just a summary of all this, that we use modern standard Arabic for a site translation and simultaneous mode, only the consecutive mode. Yes, that you can use a colloquial. Also, the Arabic court interpreter has to demonstrate abilities in the following dialects. We talked earlier about the colloquial dialects. So these are the groups, the dialects. We have the Arabian Peninsula colloquial. We have the Egyptian colloquial. So the Arabian Peninsula colloquial spoken in Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar. I guess the Gulf countries, the Dual Khalij. So this is the colloquial we have. We do have the Egyptian colloquial spoken in Egypt and northern of Sudan. So that's another colloquial. Levantine colloquial, we call it the Mashriqi in Arabic, spoken in Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Syria, and Israel as well. And we do have the North African colloquial, spoken in Morocco, Libya, Mauritania, Tunisia. Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead. I do have an answer for you. Khartoum, yes. So, okay, Khartoum is the capital of Sudan, correct? Yes, I believe that they speak Egyptian. Oh, okay. Just the north, okay.
North of Sudan.
Okay.
That's the North Province, that's the Nubian. Yes, they can speak the Egyptian colloquial and the Sudanese also.
Okay.
Khartoum, it is not in North of Sudan.
Oh, not
the Sudanese dialect.
The Sudanese dialect, okay.
Totally different.
Okay.
That's where the Nile, the Blue Nile, the White Nile.
Okay. Yes, but that's true. This is how I refer to that. So northern of Sudan is like has a frontier with Egypt. So therefore, and even though when I had some cases with some fellow Sudanese, their accent, like I think their accent tends to the Egyptian, which corroborate that. So they do have that Egyptian dialect. So, yes, go ahead.
There is also political thing happening here because now there is a North Sudan and a South Sudan. Yes, that's what also makes this difference.
Correct. Okay. Well, so this is the colloquials we're facing. So a best Arabic court interpreter needs to know those colloquials because you never know. I have been in court many times and here comes somebody from Yemen, Bahrain, so I had to adapt and adjust to his dialect. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the modes of interpreting. We spoke about the site translation. We said that the site translation is the rendering of material written in one language into spoken speech in another language. It's a true and accurate verbal translation. Actually, I corroborate that because you are interpreting from a document. So you see what you're interpreting. So that must be accurate and I think most reliable. When do we use the site translation? We talked about that. So we use it often when the defendants are given forms in the court, plea form, constitutional right, any other forms, such as right forms, plea forms, and probation orders as well. Complaints, correct, yeah. That's one of them. It's also used when foreign language documents such as birth certificates, personal letters, identity documents are presented in courts. Yeah, some of the trials, like they just come up with certificates that they want to prove to the court, or letters. So that's a common thing. Do you guys? Do you mind if we do like a quick exercise, just for the site translation? Just wanna share with you like how that work. Would you pass on this one? Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. So, okay. I think I had two copies in one, so we can't hear it. That's just the same one. I'm sorry. Somehow I stapled the same thing. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't say that. It's the same. Just print two. I'm sorry about that.
Is everyone covered?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, this is just an exercise, one idea. So this is this text actually plea form is used for the court interpreters exam. They don't give you such like document in a court. They give you like rights and stuff. But this is what they use for an exam, you know, to get certified in Arabic translation, interpreting. So I just wanted to talk briefly about some techniques that you need to perform in translation. And one of the techniques is, yeah, let's do this. So how do you guys gonna just interpret this document right here? I don't need you to interpret it, but what's your technique for? Let's see an attorney hand you this document and Mr. Court Interpreter, can you interpret this? Yeah, I see some hands. Go ahead.
You never ever start interpreting right away.
That's correct. That's what I'm referring to. Is that the same idea? Same.
Yeah. What I do is I read the top line.
Top line.
And then I get a little head start.
Correct.
And then I try to read quickly. If it's very long.
Okay.
For example, when there's a plea. Some family members write a long letter.
Okay.
So you have to just 3 pages. What I do is I read the top.
The top and stuff.
Page, the last page. Idea.
That's
in the moment I have to use my skills to improvise.
That's exactly my point. Okay, so never, ever, 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 never, I don't know if I said it, just like start jumping and interpret. Always give yourself like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to read the whole thing. What you're reading and what you're looking for is the content. Read for the content, and once you understand, you grasp what the document is about, it's going to be easy for you to interpret. So you read for the content. Remember that when there is a saying, when you grasp the meaning, the interpretation will follow. And of course, so you have to understand what the document is about, because I believe, and which is true, you cannot interpret what you don't understand. So these are some keys for the proper site translation. Possess a wide vocabulary and knowledge. So that's what I said. So you cannot interpret something you don't understand. And have the ability to quickly scan and understand the main points, documents, accurately interpret the document into equivalent meaning and target language. The example, the handout I gave you, actually it's from an exam, court certification for Arabic interpreters. They give you such a similar text, 250 words, I guess, and you render do the interpreting for this document. The question is, how they gonna rate me or score this? Does anybody know? No? Okay. So what they do basically is, what they do is they choose some words, yes, go ahead. Okay.
There's some words, some phrases that count a certain amount of points.
Correct.
So you need to interpret the
Wait,
correct translation.
would you share this one? The same thing, 1-1. Yeah.
There's idiomatic expressions, some are technical.
The same thing, the same. Yeah.
Idiomatic expression, to render it to the
Okay.
For example, in Arabic, it pulls my heart.
Anyway, that's just for the exam purposes. They don't need you to interpret the whole thing, because you cannot they need a scoring thing. So what they do for the exam, they just choose some words. They call them the scoring units. 25 words from this 250 word page. They choose 25 words. They call them the scoring units. And you have to hit at least 70% of those scoring units right, so you can pass the exam. And my scoring unit. Okay. Yes. So scoring units. See those underlined like words I handed you? So that's it. Like 25 words. You have to hit those. So you have to like interpret those correctly. 70% of them at least to pass the site translation exam. Did everybody get the handout? Okay, so we can move on to the second mode of interpreting, which is consecutive. As I said before, so the consecutive interpreting, the interpreter has to wait until the speaker has finished before rendering the speech into other language. Consecutive interpreting is a true and accurate interpretation as well, because you hear the whole thought. You don't interpret like right away simultaneous, but you hear the whole thought. The defendant, yes, I went there and I found this guy who was looking weird to me. I had to stab him, and so you hear the whole thought. Then you interpret right after he's done. Okay, and when we talked about that, when we use the consecutive interpreting, witness stand is one of them. And during examination, cross-examinations, that's where the defendant is asking the witness. If there is a direct examination and cross-examination. Direct examination when your attorney is asking the side, cross-examination when the other side asking the witness as well. The consecutive interpreting is often used when parties are addressing the witness or defendant in the witness stand. We talked about that. In legal setting, attorney, client, or prosecutor, witness, victim interviews, police interviews of suspects, witnesses, victims, deposition. That's another setting as well. So it does not occur only at the courts, but in depositions, which is like in an attorney's offices. Some keys for a good consecutive interpreting, you have to listen intently to whatever party is speaking, of course, so you have to hear the whole thing, because you cannot intervene, so you cannot stop the whoever, like the defendant or whoever speaking, so let them say the whole thing. Be prepared to take notes, recollection, accurately interpret, and after the party has completed the statement. Again, I'm going to talk about some techniques. If the Arabic court interpreter can share with us what are their techniques like for a better consecutive interpreting. Go ahead. Oh yeah, she's by the way, she's the only Arabic certified court interpreter we have, so we need your knowledge today. Okay. Okay. So the technique for the consecutive is the note taking. The note taking. Because remember that the speaker will go and talk, you cannot stop him, so we'll probably like send a lot of information. So how are you going to keep up with that? So therefore you have to be correct. Note taking. And for the note taking, there are like tons of sessions, trainings and things and stuff. There is no like a set training for that. Everybody can have his note-taking symbols and stuff. You can learn those, or you can come up with your own symbols and stuff and for note-taking. Because the thing with symbols, for example, something can mean something for me, but can mean something else for somebody. So you have to come up with your own thing, so which can help you. Example for that, for example. So what does that mean? This symbol for here, for example. Plus, cross, church, pharmacy, for somebody else. So that's the thing. So there is now a set thing for notes, note-taking and stuff, so you have to come up with your own. The third mode of interpreting is the simultaneous. We talked about that as well. In the simultaneous interpreting is the rendering of... Yes, go ahead, sir. Yes. Yes, if there is any question, yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Do you summarize, or you have to summarize sometimes?
Fact. And
Still, we don't have to neglect the key points.
correct. Well, summarizing, it's a no in the court interpreting domain. There is no summarizing. For when you interpret in the court, it has to be accurate, without omission, without addition, without embellishment. So لا إضافة ولا نقصان ولا تزيين. Embellishing تزيين يعني زين. Court interpreting is different than medical interpreting. You have to be faithful whatever the defendant said. Remember, you are in court. If you miss something, if you add something, if you embellish something, you might be dragged to the case, and that happened. So better be safe than sorry. And it's different than the medical. I've been in a medical interpreting once, and I was asked to explain. You can intervene, Mr. Doctor. This guy comes from Iraq. They do have this culture and things, so you may intervene. That's not the case in court interpreting. So summarizing. It's a no, my friend. All right. Simultaneous mode, which is the third mode we're talking about. Simultaneous interpreting is the rendering of one spoken language into to another when running renditions are needed in the same time. So it's at the same time. ترجمة فورية متزامنة, the same time as the English language communication. So of course, we didn't talk about the source language and target language. So the interpreter speaks virtually and at the same time as the limited English person. When do we use simultaneous? We talked about that as well. The simultaneous mode is used whenever participants, most often defendants, are playing a passive role in court proceedings, such as arraignments, hearings, trials. So basically, that's the mainly used mode of interpreting. Keys for a proper simultaneous interpreting. I'm going to ask you again, what's your technique? So you have to listen intently to the whatever party is speaking, accurately interpret from the source language to the target language, be prepared. And for us, the Arabic court interpreters, our target language is the Arabic. So they're all those sentences in procedure, they're always in English. So the target for us is always Arabic.
I thought it depends. The receiving
Yes.
is the source, and what you are interpreting into is the target.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be Arabic, sometimes it could be English. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but for the court proceedings, they're mostly in English, where the attorney intervene, the prosecutor and things. So your rendition is mainly Arabic. I don't see the defendant yeah. So you have to be prepared to switch to languages whenever the limited English person party is directly engaged in a procedure and consecutive interpreting is required. Okay, so also for this mode there are some techniques and trainings and so on. So we're going to share with you just some techniques to better perform in simultaneous. Can anybody tell me about the technique for simultaneous? Okay.
Just wait a few seconds.
Wait a few seconds. That's décalage. Here we go. Bingo. Din, din, din. That's exactly what I'm referring to. So just with with some science and things, especially with the exam, because the raters, when they rated the exam, they noticed that most of the people that failed the simultaneous mode are the interpreters who started right away, interpreting right away when they heard the speech and thing. They figure out also that some of them who passed the exam had waited a little bit and then started. That's what we call décalage. So you don't start right away because you're going to miss a lot. Just start at second or two. It depends on everybody. And then you start your simultaneous interpreting. So, yeah, we talked about décalage. There are other things also with the interpreting. If you want to be in the flow, you practice some exercises, for example, the shadowing. Have you guys heard about shadowing? Shadowing basically is just a rendering in English or Arabic, just repeat in a text so you can familiarize your like tongue with the. Actually, yeah, let's do a tiny exercise about that, and then just to feel what the simultaneous it feels like. Would you pass those? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Okay, this is just a tiny exercise we're gonna do. It's an audio. So what I need you to do is just like do that décalage I was talking about. You're gonna give like a second or two, and then you will start just shadowing, just saying the same thing the speaker will say. Okay, just wanna get you familiarized with the this. Okay, you guys ready? And you have the script that's in front of you. So I also give you some like scoring unit.
Are empowered to do justice. You are empowered to ensure that this system of ours works. Listen for a moment, will you please? One of my favorite people.
Okay, I need to hear you shadowing with that. I'm sorry I didn't say something. So when you like shadow in your mind, that's not called shadowing. That's called wasting time. Shadow, you have to practice, and then you have to say. It's not interpreting. It's just wasting time for me. So yeah, okay. So I need to hear your.
3, quote, in a composite nation like ours, as before the law, there should be no rich, no poor, no high, no low, no white, no black, but common country, common citizenship, equal rights, and a common destiny. This marvelous statement was made more than 100 years ago. It's an ideal worth striving for, and one that we still strive for. We haven't reached this goal yet, but certainly in this great country of ours, we're trying. From the very first orders issued by the LAPD, so-called brass, they were more concerned with their own images, the publicity that might be generated from this case, than they were in doing professional police work. That's why this case has become such a hallmark. And that's why Mr. Simpson is the one on trial. But your verdict in this case will go far beyond the walls of Department 103, because your verdict talks about justice in America, and it talks about the police and whether they're above the law, and it looks at the police perhaps as though they haven't been looked at very recently. Remember, I told you, this is not for the naive, the faint of heart, or the timid.
All right. So, by the way, this is an excerpt from the famous J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson. All right. So we talked about the modes now. We do know the difference between them, some keys, how to perform on those. Now we are going to talk about the challenges of being a Arabic court interpreter. As we talked about, first thing, that the court interpreting has a serious consequences. One for the defendant. I gave you already an example. The guy pleaded guilty for something big, thinking that he pleaded for just a toolbox. And also, when we talked about that the interpreter can have consequences as well. And I do know a person personally who has been dragged to the case for just not interpreting a right word. So basically, you have to be careful. If you don't understand a word, don't guess. Just, Your Honor, may the interpreter inquire. Take a time, ask the person, hey, you use this term and stuff, can you explain to me what? Anyway, take time and stuff, but just don't guess. Because with the court, not like the medical interpreting, everything goes in record. Everything is recorded, so transcription and things, so they can, Mr. So you said in the last right so-and-so, everything, so they have it in script. So sometimes when you're interpreting from Arabic into English, you have this problem with, it's hard sometimes to understand the Arabic speaker. We had this case a lot. Some people are like, not only from, for example, so-and-so region, but they speak like a different dialects, like it depends where they're like coming from an urban side or village or whatever. So that was a challenge for me, and I do the same thing. Your Honor, I may the interpreter inquire, taking a moment, speaking with, and try to understand so you can fully render the what the defendants want to say. And of course, we do, as Arabic court interpreter, we do suffer from the loss of gender specification. By the way, I do have this example in Arabic. So let's see, like the defendant says that الدكتورة الفلانية كمثال كتبت وصفت لي يعني وصفة. How do you guys will interpret that? The doctor prescribes and stuff. Correct. So just based on that loss of gender thing. So the doctor. Actually, if you want to be more accurate, you should say the female doctor. The female doctor has prescribed this for me. Because the doctor... So,
same thing when we hear uncles or cousin. For Arabic, we have paternal and maternal.
Paternal, maternal.
So you'd say, you don't say my uncle said this or my cousin is like ibn khalti or ibn ammi.
Correct.
Be,
Father side or the mother side.
I ask usually I say paternal or maternal.
Paternal or maternal. That's a good one.
Same goes for other side. Like you're interpreting for, let's say, hospital.
Yes.
You're saying, hey, your doctor said so and so. You're trying to say same thing to your patient, but you don't know if it's like a female doctor or a male doctor, then you have to specify that too.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
you say your doctor, maybe it's a doctora instead of
Doctora.
But
Correct.
why does the gender matter?
Well, just
For the context.
for the accuracy.
Issue with the being.
But even sometimes we
Matter in Arabic.
in Arabic.
Yeah.
It matter in Arabic.
Exactly.
Because it's a gender specific. And the American, they use the last name of the physician. That's why they say Dr. John, and she's a female. That's her last name. So that's why we normally have to ask, is Dr. John, is a male or a female? And I know the American, they get freaked out, but I have to explain to them, we tell them, our language is very gender specific. I have to know.
Yeah, then
So this is how I
yeah.
right.
You just say doctor,
Correct.
doctora, like-
Yeah.
Well, yes, go ahead, sir. Okay. Okay.
If I heard a female doctor in English,
Yes.
I might think that person might be chauvinistic or gender insensitive. It just seems to be too much.
Too much. I understand. That's the thing, and that's why I like the question. Like, why it doesn't matter? But and just for
There's a cultural issue because when dealing with like a
female
patient dealing with a male doctor, there was an issue. Then that would matter.
correct. Yeah.
Cultural
Well,
concerns.
yes. Go ahead.
Like, when I interpret exactly as I heard it.
Uh-huh.
If they say Dr. Jones, I'm going to interpret Dr. Jones.
Okay. Then the thing is, if they're
Yeah, but
in Arabic, what do you say if they say tabiba, doctora,
I would say Dr.
NAJIT?
Jones because that's what she's called in the
Oh, so you just go. Okay.
yes, so that's how it is. Now there could be, if it is an issue, that there would be follow-up
Then it
questions.
shows as like Dr. Jones, a female doctor.
If you wanna, okay.
Then, however, do not volunteer.
Volunteer or anything. Okay.
Information.
Anyway, just the main thing, the idea that we lose gender though. Oh, speaking of doctors, I just want to share with you a funny experience that I have with an Arabic defendant, actually. So I had this lady in the court, and she was saying, Dr. Sanduri did this, Dr. Sanduri told me to do that. And the judge somehow was like, who's this Dr. Sanduri? We need to call this Dr. Sanduri. And it turned out that, because Judge, can I inquire? It turned out that she was saying the doctors on duty. Yes, Your Honor, interpreter inquire. So I figured out that she was telling me the doctors on duty did. Somehow we thought that's Dr. Sanduri, who's we thought he's from India or something. All right. Yeah, there's some funny stories though in the court. Correct. Okay, let's talk about other challenges now. The main challenges. So, we have the legal language is almost a separate language, and I agree with that. So, actually, in my opinion, everybody needs an interpreter in the court. Even English people, even US people. I bet not all my money, but some of it that people right there don't understand, because the terminology used in the court is different. Arraignment. I asked an English speaker the other day, do you know what arraignment is? They was like, nope.
The judge arraignment.
Correct. So arraignment means that when you go to the court for the first time, they arraign you. So they have to give you what you were brought. Mr. So-and-so, you've been brought today because you committed this charge and charge and charge. So it's a formal reading of charges. I like the Spanish actually interpretation for that. They said lectura formal de cargas. So it's a formal lecture. In Arabic it's tilawat نص الاتهام أو قراءة التهم. So what they do is read for you the charges. Other examples that I brought: relief, consideration, اعتبار, exhibit. Here we go. So this word had me like a challenge the first time when I heard that. I thought, I interpreted that as a exhibit, art, like exhibition, and it turned out that wasn't the case. Exhibit mean exhibits. Exhibit 1, exhibit 2, proof. So mustanid versus what? Yes, correct. Until it's so when they accept it, they stamp it. So that's correct. Term sensitive. What I mean by that? So, for example, in a criminal law, there is a difference between someone who's accused, someone who's defendant, indicted, appearance, acquitted. So what we call like someone accused? Muttaham. It's just like in that phase, like prior phase. And then he becomes defendant when he's charged or indicted. Indicted is like by the grand jury. And then he can be appearance when he go to appeal his case to the higher court. And then he can be acquitted. So you have to be sensitive to those. Family law as well. So you have difference between just an abuse, a mistreatment, abuse, isa'a. For example, a sexual assault and rape. This is different here in US. I know for us it means the same thing. Yes. You can interpret like sexual assault as a rape, اغتصاب. But that's not the case in here. There is اعتداء جنسي and there is a rape. Yes, harassment. That's another thing. Harassment, yes. تحرش جنسي, which is another. Because, تحرش can be anything. So just a word. Just a word can be used as an harassment. Okay. And business law as well. So stakeholder, shareholder, equity.
What is the difference between accused and defendant? Because we had a debate about this. Accused is a muttaham. Defendant also could be a muttaham.
Okay.
So what
What the difference of accused and... Because when you're accused, you're not like formally like...
accused,
مدعى عليه. مدعى عليه. Here we go. Accused, متهم, defendant, مدعى عليه. Because you know that stages he is not like convicted yet, or... Yes, sir.
In English, there's no difference between accused and defendant. In Arabic, yes, that's fine. In Arabic there is, but in English there's synonyms.
Synonyms, okay.
And they mean absolutely...
Absolutely the same thing, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
With the caveat that accused is also a generic term, that anybody can be accused of anything without any legal process.
Okay.
When you say defendant, you know more in the court.
Right, but in the court, somebody can also say the accused, meaning the defendant in their exact synonyms. It doesn't have a time chronologically like Arabic does. Arabic, you have to, the first part...
Place it here.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So the other challenge I faced is lack of equivalence of terms. There are some terms in the legal jargon that we couldn't come up with like not a significant, but just not a word for it. My example here is alibi, for example. So for alibi, so this is the word we came up in Arabic. So إثبات التغيب عن المكان. So proving the absence of just for a tiny alibi, and serve as a process and stuff.
Arabic word.
There we go. That's not. That is not. So yeah, إثبات التغيب عن المكان. Imagine the guy just like, did you have an alibi on that date? هل أثبت التغيب عن المكان في هذا التاريخ يعني? Anyway, other thing. Remember, this is just based on my experience. I know that some challenges cannot be like your challenges, but this is just what I faced during my court interpreting. The use of idioms. I had some people using some idioms, and I had to correct. Yeah, therefore, by the way, so there is a whole study of idioms and stuff, and I'm a big fan of those, and it's called the paramyology. And so you just need to know them. So, and then actually what I wanted to share though, our president Osama the other day and Heather, they mentioned that for the Arabic division we do have this Facebook, and I encourage everybody like to be a member. There was a book that actually Heather posted. Yeah, and this is what something I like. Heather is having very active and like posting like cool stuff. And this is one of the things she posted one day. She about this book. It just came in. It's an Egyptian book. It's called Al-Ain Zayha, the roving eye, where you can have a lot of Arabic proverbs, idioms. Yeah. Amazon. Yeah. This I got it just $8 or $9. But I want to say, take a look to that Facebook. Because they share some important stuff for us, for Arabic interpreters. One of them was this, and there was a glossary that I'm using right now. So be involved in that Facebook page, and if you have anything, you can do the input as well. Yes, actually, Osama will share. ALD, okay. Anyway, I just want to share with you that this thing, I got it just from the Facebook that the folks created, which is good. Let me just get some. Okay. There is an idiom in Egyptian saying حاطط. Let's see, defendant said, كان يتخيل حاطط في بطنه بطيخة صيفي. حاطط في بطنه بطيخة صيفي. So the literal translation for this, for the English speakers, is he's put a summer watermelon in his stomach.
Exactly. Good.
So that's the literal translation. The meaning is he's confident. So he has put like watermelon in his stomach, means simply that he's confident. He, واثق من هذا. Okay, and just another one. Just بيض وشي. The literal translation is he whitened my face.
He made me proud.
He made me proud. That's one. مطول رقبتي. He has extended my neck. This is just a father like who's proud of his kid. So yes, he made he whitened my face, or he extended my neck. So that's what they use as an idiom, which means simply he made me proud. Anyway, yes. Actually, there is whole studies about idioms, though, believe it or not. This is the first thing I did. Actually, to become a court interpreter, there are the written exam, the first step you take. There is a section where they ask you about some idioms. Correct. I had a break a leg the first day. I was like, break the leg. Anyway, it's called the العين زيغة, the roving eye. Yeah, you're welcome to, at the end, I will share those for you though. False cognates. Does anybody know what false cognates are? Go ahead.
One language that is similar to another one in structure, but they mean different things.
They mean different thing. Oh, that's a big challenge for interpreters, especially. I mean, in any language, even Spanish as well. So let me give you an example. For example, we have the defendant from Tunisia, for example. He went like الشخص هذا أعطاني عظمة. داني عظمة. So the court interpreter, who was not familiar with the Tunisian dialect, interpreted as he gave me a bone. Al-Adma didn't mean a bone for Tunisian. We have a Tunisian guy. He's laughing already. Mr. Monsef, a UN interpreter, by the way. Yeah, the Hadma for Tunisian means bite. Eggs. Totally different than...
Eggs?
Yeah.
Eggs. Adam is an egg for them. Eggs.
Yeah, Adma.
What to do with the eggs?
Anyway, just an example.
For me, it would have said Adam.
So the same word, remember, the cognates are the same words used, like, but they mean different things for other regions. Hoot, here we go. Yeah, that's another one. Oh, here we go. Yeah, just to give an example for our for the fish. Hoot means like the big. Okay, that's true. Anyway, I just want to think of an example for our fellow English fellows. Do you have? You know the okay. I'm gonna bring up a Spanish example. Intoxicated. What does it? Yeah, that's what means here. Intoxicated, someone drunk. But when you say intoxicated in French, intoxiqué, or bien Spanish, it means intoxication, that he was poisoned. That's what it means. Actually, we have Beatrice also. She told me about something the other day. Embarazada, was that the term? Embarazada or embarazada? Yeah, embarazada. So if you use it as English, embarrassed, right? But it's not. That doesn't mean that. Embarazada in Spanish means pregnant. Here we go. So please be careful of those false cognates. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, this is one most of you might know it, but here what you know. I am Egyptian and Sudanese. The word mara in Egypt is so bad. It means prostitute. No, wait. Tell them what does it mean.
Okay.
Tell them what does it mean.
Yeah, it's not good, but it doesn't mean prostitute. No.
Tell them what does it mean.
It's not polite. Let's put it this way. It's not even. It's
Just
not
a vulgar way of saying
polite.
vulgar way of saying a woman. Yeah.
When you say mar'a,
Yeah, in Sudan, in the south of
what do
Egypt,
you say?
it's totally
Mar'a, what?
We say fit.
Imra'a or mar'a is imra'a.
Yes.
It's a frau, as
Yes.
a woman.
Frau.
In North Egypt, it's a bad word. In the south of Egypt, it's totally okay. It means the same meaning in Arabic, a female.
We say mara. Yeah, like no, it doesn't mean prostitute.
Well, okay, yeah, that's something I didn't know even myself. Okay, please go ahead. Sorry.
Actually, I have one.
Your attention, please. Attention, shoppers. Attention, shoppers. All right.
With an Iraqi.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Well. Okay. Can you share with us just attention, shoppers, Mr. Harvey? All right. Go ahead. Yes.
Interpreting for a traffic case.
Uh-huh.
The guy was, he was going. And I kind of, so my cousin was just sitting next to me, and he had a holiday that day. Oh. And then I realized that it didn't fit. So
Ijaza, okay. See? So, ijaza meant like rukhsa, authorization, and ijaza also means vacation. So that's another thing. You always pay attention to the context that the word is used in, so to better interpret it. Yeah, and when you interpret, like just my suggestion is try to hear the whole thought so we can understand even that word, like what's the context. Because what happened to us is like we go like lost just hearing the first word. I'm going to interpret that. And then you lose everything. This is how our brain is. So some best practices. I think I'm doing good on time. Okay, some best practices for you. So try to research the terms in the source language to understand them. And that's something else I want to point. To better add like and understand the term, try to explain it in the source language. That's what we call intralingual. So just try to understand and then try to interpret. Remember, that's my rule. You cannot interpret one where you don't understand. Make sure you understand in the source language. Preserve and accumulate your knowledge through glossaries and term bases. Unfortunately for us, the Arabic interpreter, we don't have a lot of dictionaries and stuff. Some people have been trying to do their best, and this is the only book I found in the U.S. market.
Al-Faruqi also.
Yeah, there is Al-Faruqi, that's right. Actually, I was talking about that like earlier. I do have the Al-Faruqi book, but it's kind of like from Lebanon.
Online open source dictionary.
There is? Well, I welcome that. This is what I'm talking about. You guys should share this information. This is...
Go to Ohio Supreme Court, they have a translation.
Glossaries. Is that glossaries? Or
No,
okay.
they translated all the legal terms, all the complete form, domestic violence.
Actually, yes.
What is it?
Rights. Constitution, yes.
Orders. So.
And also, California court system, they have an awesome glossary. Created by Nadia Zemmout. Voila. Yeah, that's something I do have.
Which court?
Ohio.
Supreme Court.
Correct. I do have those documents that they're really good. So I recommend like everybody to share those as well. But as I mentioned before, we do have a Facebook page. We do have a Yahoo group, I guess. You guys are welcome to share those. This is what we need. We need to let other people like use our sources as well. Yes, sir.
I can speak from experience with
Yes.
English, Spanish, and a lot of the places you named, the Spanish glossaries are pretty bad. So I can only imagine that other languages are even worse.
Correct.
So I always use a bilingual law dictionary as a point of departure, not a point of arrival.
Correct.
What I would suggest is that you download every single criminal procedure code and every single penal code to all the different Arabic countries. Keep them in a separate Word file, and then put all the penal codes in one Word document, and put all the criminal procedure codes in another Word document. No, they're not translations. These are source documents from Lebanon, from Egypt. Source code. No. Then you take your glossary and you take the translation they give. You do control find, and you see if it exists in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Many of those terms that you'll find in the bilingual law dictionaries are are inventions.
True.
And they don't
That's
exist.
very true.
I agree.
You're right. Absolutely right. That's a good idea.
Yes, yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes. Yes.
Perhaps you don't know the answer, but I'm not friendly.
Okay. It's a question for everybody, by the way. Go.
Yes, so you mentioned all these the different groups of the Arabic language.
Colloquials. Yes.
So in the Maghreb, you have the area and the Gulf area. So I'm wondering the law that they use in the Arabic countries, for example, in the Latin world, which is all people speak Latin and all the people who are Latin in French, Portuguese, Spanish, they use common law. Now,
Common law.
They use common law.
Yes.
So, for example, such concepts, for example, probation, parole, these don't exist in Roman law.
Actually, they do. They do. Probation and parole do exist.
Not so much.
I have studied this a lot, and those two terms, they do exist.
What I'm trying to say, when you are in jail, it's already, you're not a killer, you're a defendant.
Dependent. Correct. Yes.
So it's a different point of view. Someone, what is the goal that you use in every country?
Maybe French.
Probation is sourcil in French, and it was invented in Belgium.
Sourcil.
And France in 1889.
Napoleon. Correct. The Roman thing.
Both French and British. This is why I'm telling you, go to the codes. These terms exist already. A lot of people don't know how.
What's correct? Morocco.
I'm sorry.
Actually, yeah, he's right. He said it. Like some of French and.
When people say they don't exist, but probation and parole do exist in Roman law countries. So.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, I talked about that before. Just never, ever make a guess. Ask for repetition, clarification. I said it's better to be safe than sorry. So rather than causing problems for yourself and for others as well. I suggest also that you go to courts, trials. Courts are free for everybody. You can assist. The only court you cannot attend is the juvenile courts, because those are really, protected. For some materials, court transcripts, you can order those, like I asked the court clerk the other day for some transcripts. They have tons that you just want to, throw. They can give you those also. Movies, TV shows, Law and Order and those stuff also help, because they do always a simulation of a trial and settings and stuff. And professional associations, just get to associations. And I bet that every state has their own association. For example, where I come from, Utah, we do have a Utah Interpreter and Translator Association. Chicago has the same thing. Maryland, so wherever you go. So try to be involved in those. We do have, there is an association, NAJIT also, that's the main for all the interpreters around the US. I encourage also to join those, besides the ATA, of course. I think we're done here on time. So I do apologize, I would not talk about the terminology, but I did some handouts I'm going to hand you. So these are the sources I used for my presentation. And these are the dictionaries that I'm recommending, the Arabic English Farouki. That's the main one I talked about. The author is from Lebanon. The English Arabic Dictionary, legal terms. This is the first one used in the US, and I met personally this guy here is from Washington State, and that's a good source as well. English Arabic Dictionary of legal terms used in courts. Just Walid Bishara Farhoud, yeah. So yeah, this person is really a great guy as well. And of course, you talked about that, and here we go. I mentioned here some glossaries. There are a lot of glossaries out there. The California one by Sami Azimuth, and there is other glossaries and stuff. So try to. We do have some sources and stuff. We're lacking some more dictionaries, but we do have some stuff that we can work with. That being said, thank you for your attention. Other things I forgot to mention that the U.S. does not have an official language. Did you know that? What's the official language of U.S.? None. There is no English. So that correct. And some states like New Mexico have two official languages, Spanish and French. And English.
For example, French and English.
Here we go. So there is no other. All right. Any questions? Something else I wanted to mention, I forgot. So to be better interpreter, this is my golden rule. Actually, it's a golden rule that my trainer, like best trainer in the world, like Mr. De La Mora, came up with. Try to record yourself. So when you interpret, record yourself. Example. Okay. So just you guys try to buy like recorders when you like perform the simultaneous one, and then listen to yourself. Try to see how it works, like, because nobody like will, record us, and everybody has recorders, by the way. So you don't need to buy this. Your phones can be recorders. So this is a good tool which I use personally to perform and be better in my profession. Please go ahead. Any questions? Any?
It's not a question.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Share if you have something to share. Welcome that as well.
It's very important. It's when we go to court. I mean, the question is, who do we interpret to? I mean, a lot of people think that they are interpreting the defendant, or interpreting to the judge, or interpreting to the lawyer. We are interpreting to the record.
To the record. That's true.
We have to keep that in mind. It is our responsibility is the accuracy of the record.
Correct.
Not whether the defendant understood or did not understand. Not whether the law and the lawyer to the record, and that's why you always correct the record if you think that.
That's correct. So in the court versus other like settings, everything go in record. Everything is recorded, so they can go back to that. Please go ahead. This is Usama, our division president, by the way, Arabic. Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
30 seconds of your time.
Yes.
Those of you who have not signed our question to the ATAs, we're going to have we're trying to start the ATA certification from English to Arabic. So we're signing this just to show our interests. So it's not binding in any way. So if you haven't signed it, please write your name and just sign it. Another thing that I forgot to mention yesterday, that you don't have to have a certification to become a voting member. What you need to do is go on the website and just if you search voting, there's a form that you fill out. And it goes, it's a very easy process. And I did it last year, and I don't have a certification from ATA, and I became a voting member. So please do that, because that would help us a lot when somebody's running for a position, whether it's ATA or here in the Arabic language division. So you have your vote to cast and be here. The one more last thing is we also have a session after this, and that would be the last Arabic session in this conference. So thank you so much, and thank you, Amine.
Thank you very much.